All right, well, welcome everyone to tonight's magic show. We're going to perform some magic tonight, and we're going to get sharing screen, and I will welcome everybody from all parts of the world. Nice to have some people from the other side of the planet. Miriam over in New Zealand, nice to have you with us. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of the most common reasons in my 26-year consulting career, you guys, why people get this sense of they're not winning. And we talk about it a lot in our Full Circle company about getting clear or living in fear. And so that's the thrust of tonight's conversation. For those of you that don't know much about Full Circle, we help you grow as a person and then a business professional, which results in, to the 99.999% repetitive, making more money while you're taking an extra day or two off every week. We focus on your vision. You can't hit a target you can't see. So if you're not crystal, and I mean crystal clear about your vision, about exactly what you want your life and your business to look like, you're before you start. And I would say, Fraser, I think you'd probably agree with me. That's probably the number one thing we see with people, whether they've been, graduated 6 months or 15 years, is just that lack of clarity about exactly what they want. So, you know what? The old saying in biology is survival of the species, and the subtext to that is conservation of energy. So you know what, you're better to do nothing than you are to waste energy. So most people just freeze, right? And then they procrastinate. So focus blocks are things that are in the way of that vision progressing. And I actually wrote just an article today about energetic space occupying lesions that take up space, block the vision. If you want to make an impact with your life, you need to create systems that save you significant time, energy, and money is the acronym that we use. And the greatest way to have more fun in practice as well as to create leverage is to work with a team. But man, I'll tell you something, that piece is so poorly understood and so poorly done because leadership's not taught anywhere, as are the skills and systems of communication and otherwise. So I will put a shameless plug in as of this recording for our accelerated team mastery program in June. That is by invitation only. So our clients are invited and people that they invite. So if that's something you'd like an invitation to, you may want to cozy up to one of our clients on this call tonight and go from there. So this is our Full Circle roadmap. When we take the vision and our focus and our systems and our team, we literally created a roadmap that if followed, will take you from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. And to the 100th percentile, people start in the clarity phase. And what we're actually working on tonight is a part of the clarity phase as it relates to the I know I am successful when, this part of the puzzle right here, right? So we know that if people will focus on and grow these three aspects of their vision, their core values, their I know I am successful when, and their bliss magic number, they will grow. We've proven it over 26 years. And then when people focus on this rung of the ladder, so to speak, in the focus area, and they work through their anchors and rituals, getting some time management mastery and working on limiting beliefs, they will grow. Putting that into systems and working on some external marketing, intake, onboarding, money management basics, we call it, you will grow. And finally, on the team side, recruiting team, working on outcomes assessments and working on leadership, particularly relates to meetings. We know that those are the 12 most common, most prominent, like highest achieving pieces to work on to move forward. And once you've created clarity, you can then jump up into the manifestation level. And once you've mastered manifestation, you can then move up into the legacy level. So we have an actual roadmap very clearly laid out, you guys, and we can diagnose exactly where people are at based upon, where they fit into the roadmap. And if you want to get from point A to point B, having a map's pretty damn good way to do that, So anyways, that's a little bit about Full Circle for those that don't know. So let's get into why you're not winning and how to win, okay? And I would say that this has actually been amplified the last couple of years as of this recording with some of the relative insanity that's gone on the planet the last couple of years during this pandemic. And there's a lot of people that are working really, really, really hard. Most people tell me that it takes more work to create the same outcome because there's just more hoops to jump through, right? And yet, you can keep going and going and going and going, but are you actually getting anywhere, or are you just on a hamster wheel? That's what it feels like, doesn't it, gang? right? It feels like a freaking hamster wheel some days, right? And there are people out there that seem to really know how to make money, but at the same time, they're working their butts off, and they wake up one day in the classic midlife crisis, right? They wake up one day and they go, what the hell is the meaning of life? What the hell is the meaning of my life? And what do I want to do when I grow up? So it's one thing, you guys, to earn a great income from the great service or products that you sell or provide to the world. But it's another thing to have tremendous joy and fulfillment in the process, right? Which is why we always start with vision, because without that clarity of vision, it's like, what are you working for? What are you doing? I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday where this guy woke up one day at 33. And again, he'd seemed to have mastered the whole financial piece. He had taken 2 companies from startup, sold them for tens of millions of dollars. So he had all kinds of money and he wasn't happy. And so, you know, classic thing, he blew up his marriage, he blew up his life, he dumped a bunch of his friends, he sold his business, you know, traveled to Tibet for a while, did the class. Well, that's one version, I guess, of the midlife crisis. But the moral of the story, you guys, right, is there's another way. There's a way to find a balance between having joy and fulfillment in practice and in life and making a decent income while you're doing it, right? One of the things that people make the mistake of, and I did for years, and so one of my mentors helped me with this, is we talk about the difference between the gap and the gain, you guys, okay? And what the distinction here is this, is that a lot of times people that are forward thinking and are on the friggin' hamster wheel, they're looking ahead at what it is they want things to look like, but they're actually looking, to use an example, like at the horizon. And I don't care what part of the globe you're on, when you look at the horizon, it doesn't matter how far you go or how fast you try to get there, you're never any damn closer to the horizon. So you always see this massive gap between you and the horizon. And again, you feel like you're on the freaking hamster wheel going and going and going and going and going, but you're not getting any closer. And really the distinction here, you guys, is to start to look at the gain. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, right? So, you know, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss on the hamster wheel, looking ahead at the horizon, don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. So I'm going to try some new shiny thing, right? Because that must be the answer, because I hear some of my colleagues and friends that are doing this or looking at that or buying this or whatever. So it's got to be this new shiny thing. And I can tell you from being at one point many years ago, a collector of shiny things, in my experience, lose their luster really fast and they never change bugger all, right? So, you know, this swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss is kind of tied to this mindset, right? And it allows you to get to this feeling like you're not winning, which, you know, the opposite of not winning is losing. And the secret fear, which I will name, is that people feel like they could actually feel like a loser for their whole friggin' lives. How shitty would that be, you guys, to go through life feeling like you're failing all the time, that you're not good enough, that you're not getting to the horizon, that you're on the hamster wheel going around, 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 swinging a miss at all the new funny things out there because you're not clear about what winning looks like. That is unfulfilling. That is unrewarding. And the other big secret, you guys, is it also is not the most prosperous way to move ahead in life, right? What people truly want is direction. I want direction. You want direction. You want to be able to know that there's a vector to your life. And again, when you're looking at the horizon sort of a thing, that there's actually if you allow me, a hack to that, which is to turn around, you guys, and look at the game. Look at where you've come from and realize that you've covered a vast distance, that you have grown, you have developed, you have moved forward. And the epitome of that is where you can actually have gratitude for how amazing your life is. I get this thing from Tut, Mike Dooley's little newsletter-y thing that I get every morning. And man, it was just awesome today because he was talking about just some really like basic things. He says, you know, you've got lots of air to breathe. You've got lots of like sunlight in your life. You've got lots of room to walk around in your home or your community or your country or whatever, right? You've got lots of fresh water to drink. You've got like, and he was just listing like some really basic things that I foolishly take for granted, you guys, right? Moral of the story is once you're crystal clear about who you are, who you're not, and exactly what you want your life to look like, you have direction. And, you know, there's an old saying in spirituality that says, without direction, they're lost. And which is true, because if you don't know exactly where you are at any given time, by definition, you're lost, right? So how do we get direction and how do we get that clarity? Because with direction comes stability and growth. And that's really, I think, what everybody wants. I contend, you guys, that human beings are innately growth-seeking beings. We want to grow. And when we feel like we're on a hamster wheel, or we feel like we're looking to the horizon, and we don't feel like we're growing, we don't feel like we have direction, we don't feel very stable, that is a very unsavory way to go through life, you guys. And we interact with clients every day that have that feeling. I mean, on paper, they look like winners, right? They've got a degree, many of them are doctors, they have a business, they have a home, they have cars, they got cottages, they got stuff. And yet inside they feel like they're not enough. They feel like they're not growing. They feel like they're not meeting their fullest potential. That, friends, is a crappy way to go through life. And there is a solution. Because the bottom line, you guys, is that every human I've ever met wants to know that their life matters. They want to know that they're making a difference with their life, with their work, with what they're up to. And if internally you're feeling like a loser, right? Because you're not feeling like you've got direction, you don't feel like there's stability, you don't feel like there's growth, you feel like you're on the hamster wheel, you're looking to the damn horizon, you're swinging and missing all of the new shiny things. It literally doesn't matter what it looks like on paper. What you want is for your life to matter. And at the end of the day, you guys, at the end of the day, you want to feel fulfilled, right? So I can give you an example of somebody that lived their life like this. I can kind of know this guy, kind of met him a few million times, right? This guy here was going through life before the experience we're going to talk about tonight. I literally never felt good enough. It didn't matter that I was a doctor. It didn't matter that I had a successful business. It didn't matter that I had an amazing family. It didn't matter, because internally, I just never felt like I was good enough. And also secretly, I was comparing myself to other people, to colleagues, to the doc down the street, to the friend from a high school class who took a different direction. It's not something outwardly that I wanted to admit out loud, but it was something that was going on inside, and it kept me staying stuck. Talked about the gap in the gain. I am like one of the worst offenders, recovering worst offenders, looking at the horizon all the time. And it didn't matter what I did. I never got close enough. I never felt like I was ever getting any farther, right? And so my secret fear, you guys, my secret fear was that I would die with regrets. That it would be my last day on the planet, and I would have regrets about the fact of what I didn't accomplish, what I didn't manifest, what the life that could have been. And for somebody whose highest core value is optimal human expression, that sucks. Let me tell you, that sucks, right? But after this exercise we're going to work through, you guys, I started to compare myself to myself, which if you're going to compare yourself to anybody, you guys, which I do not recommend, but if you are, just compare yourself to yourself, right? And to who you are and what it is that you stand for and what it is that you want out of your life, right? Comparing yourself to others, those are not moccasins that you want to walk in. And you don't know their story, and you don't know what the real story is, because on paper they might look great, but behind the scenes they might be hurting, like I was, right? And I actually started to measure, turn around and look at the gain and what I had actually manifested and accomplished. And I literally have a daily check-in during my morning meditations, where this was something, when I first announced this years ago, my family, particularly my brother, he thought I'd joined a cult and was going to swallow the cherry Kool-Aid. But literally it came from a indigenous teaching. And the check-in, you guys, that I do on a regular daily basis, which came from the indigenous culture, First Nations, was that today is a good day to die, right? And to know in your heart that if today was your day that you're called off the planet, that it's okay, that it's a good day to die. And so when I first said, I want to be at a point where every day I can say today's a good day to die, my brother thought I was getting into the cherry Kool-Aid. But in fact, it's not, you guys. It's a mindset. It's a mindset of living your life in your ideal, clearly defined, and feeling like the winner that you are every frigging day of your life, knowing that your business is supporting your dream life, your most authentic expression of your life, regardless of whether it costs you $50 a year to live or $5 million a year to live. That, to me, is a sense of fulfillment. And out of that comes that tremendous sense of well-being that I think everybody is secretly striving for. So here's the 5 keys, you guys. And if you're a note taker, you may or may not want to jot this down, but I'm definitely going to be talking about it in a couple of contexts here, right? So the very, very first thing is to stop comparing, right? This is the classic, trying to keep up with the Joneses down the street kind of a thing, right? You have nobody to compare yourself to, except possibly yourself and your own ideals, your own values, your own priorities and goals that flow down from that, right? So this whole keep up with the Joneses thing is an absolute Western cultural myth that is actually ruining more people's lives than it's ever helped, in my observation, right? So stop comparing, turn it off, get clear. Let's look at the hologram, and then let's get into defining success for ourselves, okay? So I would say social media is one of the great banes of human existence. As a business tool, it can be useful for sure. But in terms of, the classic, this is my best day ever, and I'm going to put it up on social media and then exaggerate by 50 or 75% so that my life looks wonderful and not full of holes. I think pretty much the whole world's caught on to that ruse, to what that is. So, one of the first things we recommend to people is to turn the damn stuff off, or at least limit the amount of time that you're dedicating to that, so that you get away from that comparative sort of a piece of the puzzle, right? Because apples and oranges are amazing fruit, but they're very different, right? I remember seeing a quote one time. I think it was on a Pinterest quote or a graphic, and it said, "You wouldn't judge a fish for not being able to climb a tree," right? And it's such a great analogy, because fish has a purpose in life, and it has skills, and it has fins, and it's amazing in the water, but it can't climb a tree, right? So if you think about what it is that you're comparing yourself to, there might be things that are just not your, what we call authentic ability. They're just not things that you're supposed to be doing, that's not the reason the creative intelligence, loved you into existence with the life bubble, right? So when you stop comparing yourself to others, except to what it is that you would love to express from inside out, now you've got some growth. And this is the get clear thing, you guys, right? Because when you're crystal clear about who you are, who you're not, and your definition of success, exactly what you want your life to look like, now you can compare yourself to that standard, to that benchmark, and work diligently every day in your ideal to live according to that ideal, right? And in that space, from that mindset, from that way of being in the world, you guys, you can't fail. You just may not be as far through the journey at certain points as you want. But if I'm called off the planet today, you guys, I have no regrets. So at least I did it my way, right? It's not the way that anybody else would have lived it, and that's okay. That's the entire point, right? The other piece to you guys is to recognize that how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And you really want to be looking throughout the entire hologram of life. You want to be looking at your physical life, your mental life, your spiritual life, your family life, your career, your financial, and your social. You want to look at all aspects of who you are and really clearly define success for yourself across the entire hologram of your life, because each of those parts are connected together. And when this part grows, this next part's going to grow with it, because those things are linked. How you do anything is how you do everything. It was interesting. I was on a coaching call with a client 2 days ago now on Tuesday. And when this gentleman met us a year ago, just about 13 months ago, he was ready to leave the profession. Absolutely ready to leave the profession, even though he'd been a practicing doc for 14 years. Frustrated, had a massive growth opportunity, a very strangely disguised gift brought to him in the form of a deep personal lesson through a relationship that he was in, that there was some breach of trust involved with and stuff, and what he was working his way through. And there's a 3-part sort of a sequence that we use at Full Circle to help people, get the clarity that this gentleman got to. I'm actually going to shoot a video about that. I thought I was going to shoot it before tonight, but maybe I'll shoot it tomorrow. But what we talked about, you guys, throughout the hologram, and how much this has expanded, this teaching on his personal life, how much it's expanded his business, His business is rocking right now, like busier than it's ever been in 15 years because of the expansion that he's seeing in his personal life. And this is the three-part sequence, you guys, that we talked about. We talked about acceptance for the form of the teaching in exactly the form it is, even if we don't like it, even if we're not happy about it. And we'll never condone the behavior that predicated, but acceptance of the form with which the lesson is presented. Because to deny the form with which the lesson is presented would be to deny the existence of the intelligence that we are a part of the matrix of. Like I posted the other day that, the three most important things I've ever learned, one of them is the major premise in chiropractic. The first of the 33 principles, that there's a universal intelligence in all matter that continually gives to all its properties and actions and thereby maintains in existence. That the two key words are, you guys, is in all matter and continually. Not just when I think the going's good, not just when good shit's happening in my life, but even when bad shit's happening. Where is God not? Where is the intelligence not? It's there all the time. So to deny the form with which the teaching comes in, even if you don't like it, even if it sucks, would be to deny the presence of the universal intelligence, to deny the presence of God, if you will, right? So acceptance of the form of the lesson is step one. Step two is absolute unconditional awareness, not belief, awareness of how that has served you in your life, right? Because a lesson will be repeated until learned, and your innate intelligence is always looking for the right people, places, ideas, and events. People, places, ideas, and events help us grow. So there's purpose and meaning to the cleverly disguised gift, right? And as a result of that, acceptance of the form, and then stacking up the benefits and see how it served you to help you become exactly the person you are today. Because the person you are today is exactly who you're supposed to be. It might not be where you want to stay. It might not be who you want to stay for the next months or years, but it's exactly who you are. Because to deny the acceptance of the perfection of who you are, as great and as screwed up as you are, would be to deny the presence of the intelligence in your life at any given moment. Step two. Step three is stacking up those benefits until you can get to a point of gratitude. And this guy absolutely wowed me on Tuesday because he says, you know what, Tom, to be honest with you, I'm grateful for that experience. I said, brother, you have arrived. You have hit the promised land. You've accepted the form of the teaching. You've stacked the benefits up to the point of gratitude for the experience. When you can say, thank God for this piece of shit that landed in my life, you can see how you've absolutely taken ownership of it. You've expanded as a being. And as you expand as a being, you're going to expand in every part of your life throughout the entire hologram. So no wonder his business is booming. He's got like a 3-week waiting list for new clients. Booming, expansion, possibilities, you guys, right? So we must look throughout the hologram of life. And the last step, you guys, is where we actually go through and define success throughout each aspect of the hologram. All right. So let me ask, and let's put it in the chat, you guys. What's been most valuable for you so far? What's the affirmation? What's the piece that you invested some of your valuable time to be with tonight? What's the piece? Throw it in the chat, you guys. Get your fingers working pretty, please. And let's just see what is the answer to that question for the people that are here tonight. Many of you will be watching this on recording for the next many years, but what's been most valuable for you so far, and why? Why were you drawn tonight, you guys? What's the affirmation? What's the learning? What's the teaching? What's the remembrance? What's the piece that you're here to gain tonight? Because I offer, if you didn't have something to gain, you wouldn't have been here tonight. You would have had something else that got your attention, something that took you away from this time that we're live together tonight. Love to see it in the chat, you guys. Gratitude for negative experience. This phrase. Miriam says, the lesson of burnout while in college so I can be more balanced in my life when I begin practice. Yes, absolutely, Miriam. That's a great affirmation, a great reason for you to be here tonight as you get ready to embark on that next phase of your career, right? Kira says, I love the gap in the gain. I'm very guilty of the hamster wheel. Yes. Joe says, finding balance helps bring more abundance. Yes, those are amazing. Those are like, that's worth the price of admission right there, you guys, in my opinion. But let's push on and let's have a look at the worksheet here, you guys, right? And what this is, and for those of you that are clients, there's a much more robust version of this. I'm sure you're probably aware of that, there's actually a very cool spreadsheet that we have and Full Circle. And for those of you that aren't clients yet, well, you'll get an opportunity to experience the real McCoy, the full Monty, if you will, later on. So, Fraser, just want to confirm with a head nod that we're looking at the worksheet.
We are.
We are. Perfect. Okay. So what your exercise, you guys, what you want to do with this worksheet, and it takes a little bit of thinking. And again, there's a much more, I think, prolific one that we use for client base. But anyways, it's a good worksheet for people to just get the gist of this. Again, what we want to do is go through and define success for ourselves in each aspect of life. We limit this to 3 particular items, you guys, because if you get more than 3, what we find is it tends to dilute it. And we want you to really get clarity about what the 3 most important definitions are for you as you think of and define success. One of the key pieces here, you guys, is that you must look at it in terms of an action. Okay. So for example, for me in the physical front, right, one of the ways I define success, and this is literally the saying, the mantra in your head, you guys. I know I am successful when, pause, fill in the blank, right? So I know I am successful when physically, for me, when I exercise in some form for at least 30 minutes every day. Okay. So it's an action step that I can be held accountable for to myself, because who do we compare ourselves to, you guys? Nobody but ourselves, right? So I'm setting the benchmark. I'm setting the litmus test. I know for me that I'm a better version of self, that I feel successful in my ideal when I exercise in some form for at least 30 minutes every day. Okay. And again, I'm encouraging you to get 3 of these. On the mental side, you guys, I know I am successful when I read 1 to 2 inspiring, whoa, I can't even spell today, inspiring books every month. Okay. So is it exactly which book? No. Is there, it's 1 or 2, sometimes it could be more. I used to read about 50 books a year. But I find of the last few years that's slowed down, I think because I'm getting information from other sources, particularly off internet and from clients and stuff, right? So I don't read quite as much as I used to, but I know I am successful mentally when I'm expanding my consciousness by reading 1 to 2 books every month. On the spiritual front, I know I am successful when I meditate in some form, we'll talk about that in a second, in some form every day for at least 10 minutes. Okay. Because there's lots of different forms of meditation, you guys, right? There's obviously the classic, TM meditations. There's chant meditations, there's guided meditations, there's moving meditations, there's walking meditations. There's lots of forms of meditation, you guys, right? But I know I am successful when, and I'm more spiritually grounded when I meditate in some form at least 10 minutes every day. Okay. Family. I know I am successful when I interact in a meaningful way with every member of my family every day. Okay. Which, I got a daughter who lives out west now. And so a meaningful connection with her might be a text message. It might be part of a family group interaction through Instagram or something, right? So again, but for me, I know when I interact in a meaningful way, which I define, right? I define what that is. It might be a word, it might be a hug, it might be helping my daughter with her homework, or whatever it is, you guys. It's a meaningful interaction, for me. On the career side, I know I am successful when I focus on fulfilling my purpose in inspiring authenticity every day. So again, one of the things we advocate for, you guys, and certainly clients would be more familiar with this, but is to in on this at least on a quarterly basis. So by the 15th day of April, by the 15th day of July, by the 15th day of October, 15th day of January, as you check back in at how you lived your life and your ideal based upon these 3 definitions that you've said across each one of the 7 areas of the hologram of life, right? And if you're not living your life 100% in your ideal, so that you feel like you're looking at the gap, you feel like you're on the hamster wheel, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're not feeling ordered, you don't feel like you have direction, you don't feel like you have stability, you don't feel like you have focus, you're not feeling fulfilled, I 100% guarantee you that you've fallen off your path. I 100% guarantee you that you either haven't done this exercise, or if you have, you've drifted from some of your clear intentions about how you define success. It's an absolutely pivotal exercise, you guys, right? Let's see how this thing actually works when I start to type this, you guys. I know I'm successful socially when I have inspiring conversations with friends, family, wow, I got to move that, team members, or clients every week. Okay, so again, part of my definition, inspiring conversations literally inspire me, right? And so it's a focus of mine to have that. And of course, in my role as a professional coach, I have many inspiring conversations. That conversation I talked about earlier with that client that literally has gratitude for this very cleverly disguised hit to his heart that he endured. Man, that was inspiring to me. I left that call inspired. And so again, I've got amazing team members that I have amazing conversations with. I got amazing family members and amazing friends. And that is part of my definition of success is to do that. Okay. And on the financial front, you guys, I know I am successful when I generate the income necessary to fulfill my bliss. For those of you who are full circle clients, you'll know what that means. Fulfill my bliss sheet on a monthly basis, right? So again, if I set an intention for what amount of revenue generated in profit I want to generate, and I'm fulfilling on that, I set the bar, I fulfill on the bar setting. It's a great way to feel successful, you guys. Okay. So again, I share that, you guys, from my heart to yours, because it's something that's important to me. And I use it as an example or a reference point for how to literally fill out that worksheet so that you can get clarity on it. Again, I advocate for checking it at least quarterly. I talked to a client last week who was having some troubles. She goes, I just can't, it's just not in my awareness. I said, well, then print out 5 copies. Put a copy by your bedside stand. Put a copy, tape it to your mirror and where you brush your teeth at night. Put a copy as a screensaver on your computer or whatever, right? Making sure that you're keeping it in your awareness, you guys, is absolutely one of the keys to keeping on top of this thing. All right, let me show you a model, you guys, that I think will help push this all together. It's something that came to me today, actually, when I was prepping for this call. So I thought, you know what, I want to share that with you guys because I think it's a great way to put, these pieces together. So we're going to make sure that my iPad wants to play nice tonight. Sometimes it gets a little bit persnickety. And tonight it's going to want to play nice. I know it is. Oh, the loves of technology to Bluetooth things and to do what it's supposed to do. All right, let's see what we've got here. Well, it says it's doing what it's supposed to do, but it's actually not doing it. I would really like to draw you guys this model because it was a moment of inspiration today of absolute crystal clarity. And currently, it's not.
You can see it.
What can you see, Phrase?
I can see your iPad.
Okay, well, let's see if I can get it to do what I want it to do then here. Oh, I can see notability. Yeah, Phrase?
Yep.
Yay, all right, but let's hear it for blank screens. Okay, so what came to me today, you guys, was this. Well, that's kind of a crappy color. Let's change the color of that. Let's go with something a little bit darker here, okay? So on this axis, you guys, is manifestation, the level of manifestation that you have in your life, whether you're looking at your business or your personal life. And over the course of your lifetime, again, as I said, I contend that human beings are growth-seeking beings. So they want to manifest, they want to expand, they want to make a difference with their life. They want to leave their community a better, place than when they found it. Okay. So in this axis, we have manifestation. And on this other axis, we have, come on now, play nice, iPad. We have fulfillment. And what came to me, you guys, right? And this is tied to your definition of success. Over time, you want fulfillment to grow. Now, here's what's interesting. This is the part that can be counterintuitive to some people, is that as you feel more fulfilled as a human being, how you do anything is how you do everything. As you feel more fulfilled, as you feel more joyous, as you feel like you have more stability, more growth, more direction, more clarity, that little voice in the back of your head that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're never going to be this, you're never going to be that, that BS voice, that voice starts to get quiet, you guys, right? So as your sense of fulfillment goes up, what happens is your level of manifestation goes up. And as you look at the steps that I talked about, you guys, right? One of the early steps is to just turn it off, right? I haven't watched a newscast in over 30 years. Completely negatively biased, completely opportunistic, completely controlled by forces that I don't value. And so I haven't done that. And so again, just social media, another good one to decrease. Also, as I said earlier, stop comparing, right? Stop comparing to anything other than self and your benchmarks and to what you set that at. And what I realized, you guys, is as your fulfillment grows, your fulfillment will grow as you turn off social media and turn off the television and all the crappy news and stuff, right? And as you stop comparing, your fulfillment's going to grow, but so's your manifestation level. And as your clarity gains, you guys, right? The more clarity you have, the more manifestation that's open to you, just like the client I was talked to 2 days ago, and your fulfillment grows at the same time, right? And then as you look at and define it throughout the hologram of life and realize that how you do anything is how you do everything, you can see how growth and expansion in this part of your life creates growth and expansion in this part of your life. And so the epitome of this, you guys, is I know I am successful when, which is your definition of success, right? So each one of these steps is like a building block. And as you take each one of these steps, these action steps, you get to grow farther through your sense of fulfillment and the joy that comes with that, as well as, this is the big secret, you guys, as well as your ability to manifest with less effort, more efficiently, more effectively, qualitatively and quantitatively. It rises in proportion to your sense of fulfillment. The two are beautifully, beautifully hand in glove tied together. So anyways, that was a moment of inspiration, you guys. I hope I was able to communicate that in a way that made sense. Made a shit ton of sense to me. Again, I wanted to share that with you guys, right? Miriam, you've got to go. That's okay. Was very honored to have you here for sure. All right, so let's go through and bring this baby in for a landing, you guys, okay? So let's go in and share this screen and get back on track with this particular slideshow thing. There's the worksheet. And Tom, the coach, says meditation is one of the best ways to develop that level of clarity, you guys, right? And wait a second here. Am I sharing phrase? Yeah, no, I'm sharing, right?
Now you are. Yeah.
Now I'm sharing. Okay, all right. So Tom, the coach, says meditation is one of the key things, because one of the questions we get asked a lot in our company is, well, how do I know what my definition of success is? Right? Well, I can guarantee you this, folks, nobody else is going to know the answer to that question. You are the only person that's going to know that. And I can tell you that when you slow the world down to go inside in a form of meditation, lots of forms. Certainly, if you're able to join us as a client at retreat this summer, we're going to be experiencing at least 4 different forms of meditation. But that's the place, you guys, to go in and get those answers. And I can tell you that looking at times and experiences and things that brings you joy, things that brings you that sense of fulfillment, that sense of internal peace and stability, those are things that are possibilities in your definition of it. And then, I've had other clients that have had some experience with this, and they love the concept, but they don't actually take the time to write it down. They don't cross what my Indigenous friends call the Rainbow Bridge, which is going from the world of possibility, which is the world of sound, right? They cross the Rainbow Bridge into the world of actuality, which is the world of light, right? And so again, you got to write this stuff down, you guys. Keep it in your awareness. Use it as a benchmark litmus test for how you live your life going forward. And again, you're never going to compare yourself to anybody ever again. If you do, you're going to compare yourself, to your standards, to your definition of success. So again, I'll go back to my Indigenous friends on this, so that you too could go on a daily adventure of going, if today's my last day, it's a good day to die, because at least I've lived my life in my ideal. All right. We do these magic shows on a regular basis, you guys. We have one coming up in a couple of weeks. And again, very focused to our chiropractic community. Diehard patients aren't found, they are made, right? I hear people make this error in judgment all the time, where they think that, you know, they've got to go and there's a certain, I don't know, lure they've got to troll across to find the, you know, the diehard patients. I could think of one of my all-time favorite avatars in my hands-on chiropractic practice. Her name was Elizabeth. We called her Bunty. Bunty and Roy Swanson, God bless their souls. Just amazing people who were there in my early years of practice, were there right through until I transitioned my practice onto my associate. And as I think back through the experiences that we had together that helped them see the value of becoming lifetime chiropractic patients. And what brought me tremendous joy, you guys, is when I went to get adjusted at my old practice, is when I would bump into my old practice members. Because I knew that they were well educated. I knew that they were, you know, those diehard lifetime patients, because they understood something that I understood, right? And so we're going to go through an entire study of diehard patients and help you understand that they are truly formed. They are truly made. They are not something that you find. So I'd really love you to join that. If you're on our list, you're going to certainly get a notification. But if for some reasons, you know, you feel like you'd like a personal invite, well, then reach out to me or Fraser, and we'd be happy to connect. So on behalf of the team, thank you so much for your time and attention. I feel like we got done a little bit earlier than I often do. So if anybody has any specific questions, I would be really, really happy to stay and answer them. Assuming that I can see my chat. Oh, there, I can see it now. I'm not blinded by the light anymore. So anybody have any questions? If you're in a quiet environment, please come off mute. Be happy to answer your question live. If you're in a noisy environment, perhaps you could just put it into the chat. Anybody have any questions? I would be very happy to stay and answer them for whatever period of time it takes. I think I'm actually going to pause the recording here, Phrase.